Hey you guys, this is voice and audition coach Jessica Neighbor, and I have a video today to share with you guys how to stay in your best possible shape during a show. So a lot of my performers right now are in some pretty intense shows that have intense rehearsal schedules. We're going into the busy musical holiday season, which is super exciting, and it's really fun to check in with them and support them on their journeys. But I also want to remind you performers of some of the key things when we're in shows to make sure that you're doing. So I actually have 10 little things to go over with you. It's going to be a checklist. I'm also going to provide a PDF reminder sheet for you guys, just so that you have these to refer back to. This is kind of the thing I would have loved to have had when I was a young performer going out and doing stuff, because we go out with so much passion, but we also have to make sure that we're protecting ourselves. Remember that you are essentially an athlete. You're using your body, you're using your physical self as your medium when you're a performer. So how do we take care of our voice? How do we take care of our body? How do we take care of our mental state during these intensive rehearsals with the pressure of a show and all that comes with it? All right, so number one tip, you gotta take care of yourself. Self-care is so important. So we know that drinking enough water is key, getting enough sleep is key, and eating healthy snacks is key. We're not talking about chips and, grabbing something on the go. We're talking about really having a good balance of some protein and some fruits and vegetables. So how does one do this when we're under the gun with pressure? You have your rehearsal self-care kit. You have your backpack or your bag, and you have it loaded up with the things you need so that on that crazy busy day when Bart didn't come on time, or when your drive got stuck on the bridge going over to San Francisco for the rehearsal, you are prepared. So in your backpack, you're gonna have water, you're gonna have healthy snacks like really good protein bars. Trail mix is my go-to thing because it's just packed with protein. Some dried fruit is great. Apples and oranges keep well for a while. Bananas, I wouldn't recommend those. Sometimes just get lost in the bottom of your bag. All of those kind of like go-to healthy things are going to make all the difference. Some hand sanitizer, because when you're in those rehearsal spaces, you're all in these rooms that aren't always necessarily like ventilated, and you're all sharing each other's passion and germs. So have that hand sanitizer ready to go. All these things that are just going to really make the difference for you with self-care. Another interesting thing that I was just talking with about one of my performers who's in a big show right now is, how are you an extrovert or an introvert? So obviously you're part extrovert if you're a performer, right? You like to get out on stage. You like people to watch. You like sharing your craft with people. But a lot of us performers, myself included, need to recharge sometimes by sort of tuning out and sort of going within. So how do we do this when we have intensive rehearsal schedules? I have one person I'm working with right now who has a 6-day-a-week rehearsal schedule. Well, we decided that she needs to bring a sketch pad because sketching really makes her feel relaxed. And I also suggested bringing some earbuds, and when it's appropriate, when you're not in rehearsal mode, but maybe you're sitting there waiting for your scene, you tune out. You play something that relaxes you. You bring a book, anything that you can do to kind of pace yourself during these really long rehearsals. I know that sometimes we just get so carried away and we just want to talk and we want to be on the whole time, but we're going to start to burn ourselves out. All right, so that's a big key component. As you can see, how we take care of ourselves is crucial. Step number 2 is if you're a minor, if you're under 18 and you're in a show among adults, that is fantastic. This is a great opportunity for you. So I have a few tips specifically for you. One is to be your best self, be professional, be that respectful person, represent your generation, show them that you guys aren't just a bunch of crazy Gen, whatever we are now. Whatever generation we're on right now, show them that you really are a young professional and that you want to be taken seriously. That is going to make such a big difference. That said, remind them that you are a minor. Sometimes adults just forget how old you are because they're around mostly other adults. And unless you're a really young kid, if you fall into that kind of teen category, they can forget that you're actually way younger than you might appear to be. So just every now and then reminding them of where you are in your life experience is great. And don't feel the pressure like, oh, I wish I was their age. I wish I was one of the adults. No, be exactly where you are. Be your natural self and just remind the group of who you are. And then they're going to be like your extended family. And you are going to be like that little sister or that little brother to them, which is going to be so awesome for you. Also, make sure that you're being respectful with everyone in the cast and everyone on the crew, right? So don't be, don't give any attitude or throw any shade to that stage manager. They can make your life really difficult. Be respectful, be helpful, be on time, be happy to be there. That is going to make a huge impression, and you just never know who these people are who are involved and who they know. So if they're the sound engineer, if they're the costume designer, you have no idea what their connections are. So just really try to be your best self in that rehearsal period. Okay, so that's a big one. Another thing I want everyone to do, this is for, kids, teens, and adult performers, is to schedule out your commitments. This is a hard one. I want you to look at your show dates. I want you to look at where you are in your rehearsal, and I want you to think about your obligations. What are you going to do about your homework? What are you going to do about your work? How are you going to find that creative, flexible way to make things work for yourself? I work with some performers who are going on, some study programs. They're letting their teachers and their counselors know what they're up to so that the school is on board with them and they're not wondering why this kid is suddenly not in class part of the time, or they always seem tired, or they're turning in their assignments late. We don't want that. And the same thing goes for work. You want to have some sort of work where you can be flexible, where you actually can communicate what it is that you're doing outside of your work, and so people have your back. So that's a really important thing. And also make sure to include like your family and friend obligations, whose birthday's coming up. You might have to miss that party. Think of a special way you can be there for that person, even if you can't because you're in rehearsal mode. Just having an overview of what it is that is going to be asked of you so that you can keep the rest of your life in balance. And that also goes for your sleep patterns. So a big issue that I had after all my rehearsals was I was so amped up because we had been rehearsing and we had been on a stage and we had been doing all this creative stuff. Even though I was like physically exhausted, I was still wound up. So it's really important after rehearsal to come up with a little bit of a ritual that kind of helps you to come down. I don't know if that's a hot bath for you, or sort of reading a book, or doing a few yoga poses, but something that's going to bring you down and back into kind of normalcy, just so you can get that good sleep. Sleep is so crucial during these busy times for you. All right. Another thing that I want you to do is, if possible, I want you to save your Sundays and leave them unscheduled. You know that you're going to have such an overscheduled life during rehearsal time that I think it's key to leave one day a week where, if you can, avoid commitments. Let that day be yours. Let that day be yours to either sleep in, to go for a walk, to zone out on Netflix, whatever it is that you need to do on that day. Give yourself that. Even if it's a part of a day, it's going to be really important to just allow yourself to check in, see how you're doing, see what you need. And if we're committing ourselves to everyone all week long, all month long, we're going to burn out, and we want to avoid burnout. Another thing that is really, really important is to thank your support team. I want you to take a moment to think about those key people who are helping you out during this rehearsal process. We all have them. No performer gets to where they are alone. We have our team. So who is that friend who you're talking to about the performance, rehearsals, about the crazy people in your cast? who is that person? Make sure from time to time that you're checking in with them, that you're not just asking them to be your ear, but that you're also giving them a little juice. Write them a little love note, send them a little love text every now and then. Just let them know that you appreciate them. The same goes for family. Do you have either a partner or a parent who is really there for you? Maybe they're your practical support. Maybe they're the ones that are getting that healthy food into you. Maybe they're the ones that are driving you to all of your insane rehearsal schedules. That is a huge commitment for your entire family. I think people always think of athletic parents, Michael Phelps' mom or Steph Curry's team and how they're all there for them. Well, the same goes for performers, right? Think about your crew, your support team, your fans, and how they're really vital to your life. So just finding little ways to give them a hug, send them a note, do something sweet for them and thoughtful for them, just to let them know that you do appreciate and you recognize what it is that they're doing for you. And last but not least, I wrote this as a suggestion. I want you to try to go with the flow and remember your overall goal for this particular show. So goals could be, getting better at your craft, or working with this particular, theater company or this particular director, or doing this play that you've always wanted to do. Have that goal, have a personal goal that you feel like you can sort of take ownership and control over, because so many things during this experience are going to be out of our control, right? We're just one part of this whole, which is what makes live theater so exciting, but it can also make it feel terrifying and a little out of our control. That's why I want you to have your intention about what it is you're working on for your specific goal, so that regardless of what happens, does the show come together, does it not quite, you are still focused on what you can do during this process that is helping you to develop and grow as an artist. And that's why I want you guys to invite people to all of your shows, regardless of what you feel like that show might wind up being. It's sometimes this sort of safe defense mechanism to not invite people because we don't know. And so many times I talk to performers who say, it wound up being really good and I wish I would have let everyone know. So tell everyone, we want to be there for you. We want to cheer you on during your journey. We want to see everything you're in because we love you and we want to support you. So I just want to let you guys know that, put it out there, have your personal intention, and then just try to go with the flow. Because there's going to be so much unexpected stuff and so many curveballs that make live theater so interesting. So if you just feel like you have that focus on one nice thing for yourself, it's going to keep you grounded. It's going to keep you focused in what it is that you're doing and why you're there to begin with. All right, so I will print out a sheet of all of these things. I've been just so inspired by talking to so many of my performers. Wanted to share that with you, and I hope that that is really useful. This also is specifically for my studio performers because they are in training right now for their vocal show that's coming up in November. It's on November 18th. It is called True Colors Vocal Show. It's here in Oakland, California at the Plymouth United Church. And we are going to be giving you a night full of beautiful songs from pop, R&B, musical theater. We're going to have a little Schuyler Sisters in there. We're going to have, I don't know. I'm going to keep some of it surprises. So for you guys especially, take note, take care of yourselves, and that way you'll be in tip-top shape for our show. All right, everybody, have a great time. Break a leg at your next show. Talk to you soon.